We buy sausages because they're quick, they're cheap, and they feel like a normal Aussie dinner. But here's the problem. According to Australian public health guidance on sodium, and the way processed meats are discussed by major health organisations, a lot of the biggest supermarket and small goods brands still lean on the same combo: high salt, preservatives like nitrites, and filler-heavy formulas that make the label look like a chemistry class. So today, we're counting down 7 sausage brands you should probably avoid. We'll also finish with 3 better choices that are usually cleaner, simpler, and easier to trust. Alright, starting from number 7. 7. Coles Thin BBQ Sausages. Coles Thin BBQ style sausages are a classic looks lighter, eats heavier product. Thin sausages often cook fast and feel like a quick dinner win, but they can also be a shortcut for a formula that leans on seasoning, binders, and added salts to deliver flavour and texture cheaply. The big issue with many thin BBQ supermarket sausages is how easy it is to eat a lot without noticing. If you serve yourself 2 or 3 thin snags, you've often doubled the sodium hit you expected. That matters because national and global health guidance is not subtle about sodium. The gap between what's recommended and what people actually eat is already wide, and processed meat is one of the easiest places to overshoot without even trying. The other issue is value. These packs can look cheap per pack, but when the meat percentage is modest and the ingredient list gets long, you're often paying for added water, starches, and filler proteins that change the bite and leave you with that spongy texture people complain about. If you still buy them sometimes, treat them like a once-in-a-while option and balance the meal hard. Go heavy on vegetables, skip salty sauces, and don't pair them with other salty sides like instant gravy or salty chips. 6. Aldi Brannan's Butchery.
Sausages.
Aldi's Brannan's Butchery line is the definition of a value pack temptation. Big tray, low price, easy weeknight plan. The problem is that value sausages across supermarkets tend to follow the same playbook. Keep the sticker price down by stretching the formula. What that can look like in real life is a sausage that throws a lot of fat into the pan, shrinks more than you expect, and tastes fine only after you hit it with sauce. And when you see that pattern, it usually correlates with the same 2 structural issues: higher sodium for punch and non-meat ingredients that help bind the mix and lock in water. Here's why this is not just food snob talk. National reformulation and monitoring work in Australia has repeatedly shown that processed categories like sausages are a stubborn place where a lot of products still don't meet sodium targets. In one recent assessment using Australian packaged food data, the share of sausage products meeting sodium targets improved over time, but still left a big chunk of the category above target levels. If you want Aldi value without the sausage problems, the move is to buy less often, buy smaller, and upgrade the sausage when it's the star of the meal. If it's just a side protein in a big veggie-heavy dish, it matters less. If it's the main event, it matters a lot. 5. Don. Thin-style beef sausages and Frankfurts. This is where we get very specific about what sausage means, because a lot of people buy small goods style sausages like Frankfurts and Thin Franks as a quick lunch or kids' dinner. The main reason these land on an avoid list is the classic processed meat combo: high sodium plus curing preservatives. As one concrete example of how this can look on a label, a thin Frankfurt product from Don is listed with sodium at 1060 milligrams per 100 grams and includes preservative 250, sodium nitrite. That's not a little salty. That is a product where a normal serve can eat a big chunk of your daily sodium budget fast. Why does nitrite matter? Because it's one of the reasons processed meats have been studied so heavily for long-term health outcomes. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified processed meat as carcinogenic, based on evidence linking high processed meat intake with increased cancer risk. That doesn't mean one hot dog ruins your life. It means these products are not a smart default protein if you're eating them all the time. If you're buying these for convenience, the better move is to keep them as an occasional option, not a weekly routine, and to avoid stacking them with other salty processed foods in the same day. 4. Cole's Finest Italian-style pork sausages. This one frustrates people because the word finest makes you assume the ingredient list will look like a butcher sausage. Often, it doesn't. Premium supermarket sausages can still rely on the same processed structure. They just add Italian herbs sometimes, a fancier casing story, and a higher price tag. The two big risks here are salt and marketing. Salt, because Italian-style seasoning blends can cover a lot of sodium. And marketing, because premium can distract you from checking the meat percentage and the additives. This is where the reformulation story matters again. If a category is struggling to hit sodium targets at a system level, then the burden shifts to you as the buyer to do the label check. You don't need to memorize numbers. You just need to know that sausages remain a category where many products still sit higher than people expect, and those small differences become big differences when it's a food you eat often. If you love Italian-style sausages, the better choice is usually a butcher-made version with a short ingredient list. Same vibe, better build. Quick pause. If you're finding this breakdown useful and you're still with me, drop a comment with the number 4 so we know you're here. And if this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing. It helps us keep making research-based supermarket guides. Alright, back to it. 3. Woolworths home brand sausages, especially the cheapest lines. This one needs a fair explanation because not every budget sausage is automatically the worst. Sometimes the sodium number is not the highest in the aisle. The bigger issue is what you're paying for and what you're eating when the meat percentage is low and the formula leans on binders and additives. A clear example is a Woolworths market value beef sausage product that lists beef at 70%, with added thickeners and mineral salts, and sodium at 493 milligrams per 100 grams. So yes, the sodium number on this specific product looks moderate compared to the scariest processed meats. But here's the catch. People don't eat 100 grams of sausages and stop. A couple of sausages can easily push you toward 200 grams, and now you're near 1,000 milligrams sodium from the snags alone, before bread, sauce, cheese, or sides. And the other catch is texture and satiety. A sausage built with lower meat content and more binders is more likely to leave you hungry sooner, or to taste like it needs sauce to be enjoyable, which usually adds more sodium and sugar. So this lands on the avoid as your default buy list. Not because it's a poison pack, but because it's a weak value proposition for regular eating when better constructed sausages exist. 2. Ingham's chicken sausages. Chicken sausages are a category that tricks a lot of people. Chicken feels lighter, so it feels automatically healthier. Sometimes it is. But many chicken sausages are still heavily processed, and the light taste is often compensated for with salt, flavourings, and a longer ingredient list. The other thing to watch is the texture. When chicken sausages are built from finer mince or from more processed forms of chicken, they can rely more on binders to hold together and stay juicy. That tends to correlate with a product that tastes fine in isolation, but leaves you feeling like you need to add salty condiments to make it satisfying. From a health logic point of view, this is where the sodium gap matters again. Australia's sodium intake is already above recommended targets, and processed categories are a big reason why. So even if the sausage is only chicken, if the build is salty and additive heavy, it's not a smart everyday pick. If you want chicken sausages, you're looking for a short ingredient list, clear meat percentage, and a sodium number that doesn't blow out. Those exist, but the cheapest packs often aren't them. 1. Gotzinger smallgoods and Deli style smallgoods sausages. This spot is less about one single sausage pack and more about the pattern in deli and smallgoods style sausages. They are often high sodium, often preserved, and they sit in a part of the supply chain where food safety matters a lot. Why put Gotzinger here? Because in 2025, Government and Food Safety channels in Australia circulated recall warnings involving sliced small goods products due to potential listeria contamination. Safe Food Production Queensland. Again, this does not mean every product from a brand is unsafe. What it means is that when you're buying deli small goods, you should treat cold, ready-to-eat meat as a higher attention category. Storage, handling, best before dates, and recall awareness matter more here than they do with a fresh sausage you cook thoroughly. Add to that the nutrition reality. Deli sausages and small goods are often built to be intensely flavoured and shelf-stable. That usually means high sodium and curing agents. So this is our number one, not because it's the only brand that ever gets a recall, but because it sits at the intersection of the two biggest concerns for sausages: processed meat formulation and higher food safety sensitivity in deli-style products. Now, if you're thinking, so what do we buy instead? Here are 3 options that tend to be better constructed and easier to trust. The key theme is simple: higher meat content, fewer additives, and less reliance on curing preservatives. Good choice 1. Hagen's Organics. Hagen's is the kind of brand people go to when they want sausages that feel like food, not a formulation. The general appeal here is that butcher-style sausages tend to use simpler ingredient lists and rely more on meat quality and spice balance, rather than heavy salt and binders to carry flavour. If you're trying to make sausages a normal part of your week, this type of sausage is the move. You can still keep portions sensible, but the product itself is less likely to push you into the "why am I so thirsty" zone, or the "this tastes like it needs sauce" zone. The practical tip: when you buy from a butcher-style brand, ask one question. Are these nitrite free, and what's the meat percentage? If you get a clear answer, you're already ahead of most supermarket aisle options. Good choice 2. Millen's Free Range Butcher. This is for people who want a proper sausage, not a mass-produced one. A good butcher sausage usually wins on 3 fronts: texture, because it's built around meat rather than extenders; flavour, because it's not leaning on salt as the main punch; and transparency, because the butcher can actually tell you what's in it. If you're buying sausages for a barbecue or a dinner where the sausage is the star, spending a little more here usually pays off. You eat less, enjoy it more, and you don't need to drown it in condiments to make it work. And if you care about ethics like free-range sourcing, this style of butcher is where you're more likely to get clear answers. Good choice 3. The free-range butcher. The strongest argument for a free-range butcher option is control. You're buying a product where the selling point is the meat itself, not the packaging story. What to look for here is a plain, classic sausage with a short ingredient list. If you want flavoured versions, choose ones flavoured with real ingredients, like herbs and spices, not a long chain of flavour enhancers. And if you're trying to reduce processed meat overall, this is also where you can choose sausages that skip nitrite curing preservatives, which is a big deal when you're trying to keep your weekly food pattern cleaner. Before we close, here's the fastest sausage filter you can use in the supermarket. Check sodium per 100 grams. Lower is generally better for everyday eating. Scan for preservative 250. If it's there, treat it as sometimes food. Watch sulfites if you're sensitive. Short ingredient list usually wins. Meat, spices, maybe a binder, and that's it. If you want a safer default, buy fresh butcher sausages and freeze them, instead of relying on cured small goods. So that's the list. 7 sausage brands and lines that are worth skipping as your default buy, mostly because of how processed sausages are commonly built, and 3 better options that tend to be simpler, more transparent, and better eating. The big takeaway is not, sausages are evil. It's that companies count on us not checking the label. But once you know to check sodium per 100 grams, meat percentage, and preservatives, you stop getting tricked by words like premium or butcher style. Have you tried any of these, good or bad? Drop your experience in the comments and tell us what supermarket category we should fact check next. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and we'll keep doing evidence-based guides like this. Stay informed, shop smart, and trust the label.